What does manhood mean to you?
And manhood to me means the stage that males develop into um, as we age and we gain not only wisdom, but also the ability to take care of others, right? I think we live in a society where, and I just shared this with a friend recently, where I think our society allows men to get older without ever growing up. And so it's very easy to stay in that very self-centered stage, a very childish development. But manhood, as you enter that, you start realizing it's not about you. Life isn't about you. You're not the center of the universe. And it really is about what you are contributing and how you're leaving the world a better place.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of King Crush Thursday, the series where we highlight and uplift Black men because, frankly, not too many people are doing it. My name is Val Gay, and I'm super excited about this brother today. He is a leader in so many different areas. He's a leader in the nonprofit space, he's a leader in public television, he's a leader in serving in a civic perspective as a commissioner on Black male engagement for the city of Philadelphia. He is probably most importantly a father. And so please welcome Mr. Eric Marsh Sr. Hey, Eric.
Hey, Val, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm so glad I get a chance to talk to you. Today, as with all of these conversations, our goal is to break open a bit the myopic and narrowly defined myth, I will say, of the Black man. One brother very poetically said, 95% of us are doing the right thing. 95% of us are just incredible human beings, just being impactful in their communities with their families. But yet, it's the 5% of us that are not doing those things that get 100 or 95% of the play, if you will, in the media. And that's what society sees. And so we are aiming through these 6 questions, this repository, to provide guidance, perhaps one day for a young king who may or may not have positive Black male role models. He can come to this repository, see the same 6 questions answered in a myriad of ways, and hopefully find guidance. And then for the rest of us who are neither male or even Black, to be able to come to this repository and perhaps have our minds opened, our perspectives widened about this, again, myopically depicted segment of our population. And so I'm so glad that you are here. And with that, I would like to get started with the first question, which is, what does manhood mean to you?
Wow. So the question really had me thinking for a while because I think there's a really simple answer. Um, and manhood to me means the stage that males develop into um, as we age and we gain not only wisdom, but also the ability to take care of others, right? I think we live in a society where, and I just shared this with a friend recently, where I think our society allows men to get older without ever growing up. And so it's very easy to stay in that very self-centered stage, a very childish development. But manhood, as you enter that, you start realizing it's not about you. Life isn't about you. You're not the center of the universe. And it really is about what you are contributing and how you're leaving the world a better place. And so for me, manhood is that stage where you start to really invert that perspective and start looking outward at who you can help, what resources you can provide, how you can make the world a better place and leave something that's lasting long after you leave here.
That's beautiful. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much. So, Eric, who and or what is important to you?
Oh man. Well, it would be facetious for me to say everyone is important to me. I think, who's important to me? Obviously, my loved ones. I have an amazing family. My partner is incredible right now, and I have a little guy. My children, I just got off the phone with my oldest son, Eric Jr., who's 28 now, and he actually imparted some wisdom to me. So, yeah, there's my obviously my immediate family, but beyond that, the circle that I feel like is closest to me are Black men and boys. They are important to me. And the reason why Black men and boys, if you think about it, picture a series of concentric circles, right? And so obviously, if you place yourself at the center, you're the nexus, you're that hub. The first immediate circle is the people who are closest to me that I love and interact with on a daily basis. I care for my children. Outside of that, you know, Black men and boys are important to me, and I love them because the next concentric circle is Black women and children who we impact. And then beyond that is the rest of society and our community. Because I feel like, as men in general, not just Black men, but men in general, we have been reared in a society where we've caused a lot of harm to one another, to ourselves, and to our friends and family. And so I want to heal that circle so that everyone else outwardly from there is impacted by less harm and less, emotional trauma and the drama that we hear about on a regular basis. So that's who I care about, and that's who I love.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Eric, how do you want us to see you?
It depends on the day. I'm somewhat flexible, right? Like I'm very comfortable in my skin, and so I'm not reliant on how people see me. Um, I do want to be seen as an asset. I don't want to be seen as someone who is, harmful or causing difficulty or making somebody's life a burden or a hassle. Um, but honestly, I just want to be seen as someone that you can lean on, somebody that you can talk to, and somebody that you can, you know, feel safe with. I think the biggest compliment I've ever received, from someone was just I made them feel safe. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's great. So, Eric, what's your epic dream?
Now I'm interested in this because I know when you wrote the question, you spell epic EPIK. And now I'm like, okay, what is this about? Is there some other hidden thing behind the meaning of the spelling, or is it so what can you elaborate? What do you mean when you say epic dream?
Sure. So, to me, I dream epically, not just big, because to me, dreaming big is too small. My dreams are way bigger than big.
Mm,
And so epic, and it's a hashtag. I created a hashtag epic dream, but EPIC dream was already taken. So I
okay.
just changed it to a K.
Okay. All right. That's good enough. My epic dream. I think my epic dream is that we create a world where people feel safe and loved and have optimism for their lives and for their futures, and for their children's futures. Because I like to travel, and so I remember I'm old enough where I'm aware of like U.S. foreign politics, and I'm aware of changes and things that have happened globally. And again, prayers out to folks. There's currently a lot going on with the Israeli-Palestine conflict. So a lot of people in pain and hurting right now. And the reason why I bring that up is because my epic dream is to travel the world. And I really want everyone to experience that. There's a quote, I think it was Benjamin Franklin, who said, travel is the antidote to ignorance. And I just think if we get a chance to travel and see culture, see other cultures, see how other human beings live, we start to recognize that we're more alike than we are different, and that we all want the same things. And I want us all to be able to just kind of experience that universal human love of like being accepted and being able to experience life for what little time we have here. So that's my epic tree.
Mm. Yes, 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 yes. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I love that quote. Thank you. And so you've been answering this implicitly all along, but I'm going to ask you explicitly. Mr. Eric Marsh Sr., who are you?
Ooh, I'm still trying to figure that out. Um, I think I am a curious spirit, a loving individual who like has a thirst for life and information and knowledge and wisdom, and love and kindness. And so I'm trying to fill up on all of those things and experience all of those things. And I want to experience all those things through the roles that I play. So you mentioned I'm a father, you know, I have a fiance, I have children, I fulfill a role in my family, immediate and extended, but also I fill a role in my community. And all of those roles are really about living life to the fullest and wanting others to live fully too. So that's who I am.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. Thank you. So here we are already at question 6, which is there anything that you wanted me to ask you that I didn't, or I should have asked you that I didn't? In other words, what did I miss?
Oh, so I would say, what did you miss? What I want you to ask me about is I want you to ask me about why men should lean into their role of being fathers or father figures. And why is that important? And the reason I don't expect you gonna quote, you gonna read it back to me? No, I don't expect you to do that. And the reason why I want you to ask me that is because my journey, my experience, again, has just taken me everywhere. And a lot of it started with my role as a father or a father figure. And I say father figure because, you know, at the age of 19, I was dating a young lady who had children. And so I've always been around children in a role that I played a father figure. As a matter of fact, even when I was younger, I think about it now, I'm the youngest of 4 boys. But when I was younger, maybe around 9, 10, 11 years old, um, I always attracted the attention of younger kids in the neighborhood. And they always wanted to play with me or be around me. And so that role of like a caretaker and caregiver and just um, big brother, like being a guide to young people, especially children, is one of the most precious and important roles that anyone could ever have. And as I said earlier, we live in a society where men are allowed to grow older without growing up. And the one of the first things, and this has happened through my experience. I've learned this through my experience with my nonprofit. So I'm the co-founder of an organization called the Fathering Circle, and my partners Billy Yalowitz and Les Rivera and I started an organization about 7 years ago, where originally we were brought together to interview fathers to then go off and create some artwork based on their interviews. But what I found was when we started talking to dads about what is it like to be a dad, um, nobody wanted to go home at the end of the night because nobody ever asked men, what is it about being a dad that makes you, that brings you joy, or that, you know, we all talk about the struggles, but we don't ever really talk about the joy in it. And so seeing those men night after night, we would have our circles, not want to leave because they felt like they were finally being heard and they felt like they were being valued for something that society never values men for, right? Um, we always get this idea of we've seen movies with the bumbling dads who don't know how to put a diaper on a baby or don't know how to feed a child. Like we've been, fed that lie for a very long time. And then even before that, we were fed this idea that the men in the household don't do the caregiving, right? It's just dad in a lounge chair with a newspaper and a pipe, and the kids are just running around, and mom is expected to take care of everything, right? And I think those days have been long gone. And what we really need to do as men is just like lean into that role and understand that children, whether they're our biological children or they're just children around us, really need us in a way to balance out the lessons that mom can give or mothers can give, right? This really is about, I think life really is about balance. You have to find a balance in your own life. And by us being present, we help our children and our younger siblings and other children around us find that balance. So for me, that's really about helping men identify that role. And again, it goes back to being of service, right? Like if you can teach a kid to tie their shoe, or you can teach a kid some brand new thing. It's not just about the kid. Like you get rewarded in that too. So yeah, I was a single father to my oldest son, as I mentioned earlier. Eric Jr. is 28 now. And I got custody of him when he was about a year and a half old. Um, and his mother is still around, still alive, but at the time she wasn't able to take care of him the way I could. And so in my pursuit of trying to find resources for him and take care of him, this little baby, I went through a lot, and I've dedicated myself to trying to help other fathers find the resources that they need for their children and making that process easier for them, because it wasn't easy for me. So that's really what I anybody that sees this, if you see me or hear me or run into me, ask that question about fatherhood, and I'll be more than happy to share that answer with you.
That is really incredible. Thank you so much. As you were speaking, I was thinking of my own father. I speak often here about my father. In fact, I think episode either 8 or 9 is my father. I adore my dad. He's a big man, and as soft as a teddy bear, strong, and soft at the same time. And as you were talking, I was reminiscing on playing with my dad as a kid and sitting on my dad's lap. And I know I say this often, when I'm having a particularly bad day, I know that there is someone I can call who will sit down and welcome his lap for me to climb on as he pats my back and says, "It's okay, honey," as I cry into his shoulder. That's my dad to this day, since I was little. And then my mother standing next to him, rubbing my back, and I appreciate that so much. And it's to your point, we don't hear about that. We don't see that. When my parents regale me with stories of my infancy and my childhood, it's just filled with so much love and possibility. And that's one of the reasons why I started this, is to break open these very myopic myths. Obviously, I'm not a Black man, but as an admirer of Black men, being a woman who was raised by a Black man and a Black woman, as someone who has championed me. And as Toni Morrison said, every time I see him, his eyes light up. When I speak to my father on the phone, his voice lightens, and I can feel the love. And I just want everyone to experience that, and for the rest of us to see that what we've been fed is an incomplete story. And I want that story. And so you are a part of this, changing this narrative. I'm so grateful and just loving the stories that you said, and even how we set this up. You're like, I got a little guy here. We'll make sure he's okay. It's almost his bedtime, and that's some beautiful things. And these are not narratives. And to your point, there are very few shows or media, TV, movies, where we see dads that are truly engaged, regardless of their demographic. And so while I'm focusing on Black men, because that's my community, and I really want to see my community whole, I do recognize, and thank you for bringing that up, that fatherhood in general, we are these very narrowly defined gender roles need to be eradicated also because we're human first, and just like a mama bear, we know don't mess with a she lion, a lioness's cubs or a mama bear cubs because she will take you out. The same thing, don't underestimate the power of a caring father and what that can do, that impact. And so thank you. Thank you so much. So I honor you, my king. I pray that your beautifully epic dream comes true sooner rather than later, and that you will continue to grow and make an impact in your family first and everyone else. And so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Val. I appreciate this space. And I appreciate the thoughtfulness of your questions and comments. It really, really touched my heart. And I really enjoy talking to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And stay right there because I want to thank the audience for joining us, because I hope that you also enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. And if there's a positive Black man in your life who you want to see highlighted in this forum, please feel free to click the link below or in my bio. Fill out the nomination form and I'll take it from there. We are building this narrative busting repository thingy one man at a time. And he can be as accomplished as Eric or not. Because ultimately, success to me, I always say a positive and successful Black man. Success is not what someone does for a living. I have two caveats. I used to only have one and I realized, I need to qualify a little more. One, it needs to be legal. And two, it needs to be something that is not causing harm, because just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not causing harm. So other than that, I don't really care what a man does for a living. But what I do care about is the content of his character and the positive impact that he is making on others, from his nuclear family to the community writ large and everyone in between. Those are the brothers that we want to contribute to this repository. So please stay tuned next week for yet another amazing king. And in the meantime, please remember to spread love and have a great day. Thanks so much. And Eric, thank you so much. That was really awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Appreciate you.